Mr. Moody.
Here.
Ms. Simmons. Here. Ms. Randall.
Here.
Mayor Wright.
Here.
At this time, the boards and commissions that are with us, I'll just call the roll for conversation step. For the Economic Development Authority, Lisa Lucas-Burke. Aaron Kelly. Roger Brown. Brad Hunter. Robert Beeman. Dean Thompson. Junius Thompson. With the PPIC, Mr. Edward Barr. James Bento.
Here.
Manchetta
Here.
Carl Bonner.
Here.
Guy Wallace. George Watkins. James Jewell.
Here.
The Planning Commission, Mr. J.D. Smith III.
Present.
James Ellis. William Deaver.
Here.
Kenneth Pugh. Alice Taylor Smith. Yolanda Thomas. With the PRHA, Ms. Flossie Bridger. Mr. Joseph Haskell. Brian Johnson. Dr. Pam Copel.
Here.
Andrea Armstead. Joe Fleming. Charles Morgan. Thank you. At this time, Mr. John Rowe is going to come forward.
Thank you. We're getting our logistics squared away. The main purpose of this meeting, of course, is for us to share amongst our economic development partners. And we typically have the chairman of each board to give an update on what they're doing. I'm going to ask Aaron to start off. Please, yeah.
I'll try to cover a lot of ground and be brief at the same time. Your economic development authority has been very busy as of late. You'll hear some good things. I won't steal any thunder. Things are up and coming here shortly. You'll hear about the side improvement grants and the incentive for the enterprise zones. A couple of things we're working on right now. Many of you may know the Breeding Company right across from City Hall. There's some property right there. We're building some high condos there. Probably about 130 units. Honestly. So that brings some more density downtown, some more spending, and should help revitalize the retail corridor down there. We've also got an opportunity out here in Victory. It looks like Royal Farms. I don't know when it's exactly slated to close, but that should be another property that we dispose of out here and actually have something coming about there here shortly. Kroger, I think we had a few small documents to work through. We're at that point now where that is almost to fruition. So that should be a nice piece. We'll see some stuff coming out the dirt out there as well, off of Frederick. Let's see. We recently just purchased the 311 County Street property, right adjacent to the County Street garage. It was a heck of a value. We were able to purchase the property for $500,000. I think it assessed for 1.6, and is that about right?
Yeah.
And it appraised for somewhere around 1.2, 1.3. So, heck of a buy. We got a good deal on it. We've got some tenants in there at the bottom floor now, and we'll look to try to fill the rest of the building. So right now there's a lot of moving parts. We've got some positive things moving, and if there's any questions, I'll open it up or touch on anything else that I may have left out.
Probably not the right place for the question, but I'm asking it anyway.
Okay.
The city's been criticized recently on Facebook especially for the facade improvement grants only being in the downtown. Any reason they couldn't be spread out around the city? It's a good group to ask questions.
Would you like my personal opinion, or we want to throw that around to you? come to anywhere in general, they tend to go to a downtown corridor. They're not going to visit smaller neighborhoods and things like that. Tourism is generated by your downtown district. You're also judged by your downtown. Other cities are compared by their downtown, the health and quality, how many of our buildings you have, and the general aesthetic look of it. So anytime you can put some infrastructure, some improvement, or make something look nicer, you really don't have home run change the perception. A lot of people who are visiting your city who may not love it. Those are the people we actually want to move here in the future.
Yeah, I think we get that, but I think the question is it available to other businesses?
Other businesses or other geographical areas?
Areas.
At the moment, no. Right now, it's a downtown plan.
So if you're in Churchland, you're not eligible.
Not at the moment, no. Right now, we're trying to focus on ramping up the downtown development plan. There's a safety and security grant that's we're working on as well, and a few other moving parts. And we're not opposed to moving to other parts of the city, but I think right now we're trying to focus on that one spot instead of spreading ourselves too thin. Try to focus on one area. Once we succeed, move to another area.
Any applications do we have thus far?
Currently or in progress, 4. And I can touch on those, but I think Toy's going to give a presentation. Ms. Wilson's going to give a presentation on it shortly, so she can go into more detail on it.
Hey, Aaron.
Yes.
Wasn't our intent, though, was to start somewhere, but there wasn't enough funding to do facade improvement grants throughout the city, so we had to pick a spot to start. It was, do something rather than do nothing. It seemed like that was the best place to make the investment, to start the program. And then we talked about, as the program progressed, that we would start extending into other areas of the city. So it wasn't meant to leave others out. It was just meant, hey, let's take advantage of it where we can.
This is basically like a basketball net. You're starting at one point and move your way around. There's a lot of places in the city we really like to focus some of these things on. There's some other areas that definitely need focus. We're aware of that. But we'll see some results soon. Any other questions or comments? Okay, everybody calls it.
Thanks, Eric. And you look around the room, you see some new colleagues, one sitting at this table. Well, we're not really new. I mean, how new is Colonel Crawford? Not. But I'm going to call on Davey to make the next presentation. But before we do that, if that's okay, I'm going to ask LaVorse to introduce our visitors.
Good evening, everyone. We wanted to add some festivity to our meeting as we've been doing on High Street and downtown. And so this evening we have some of our entertainers from Magical Solutions. Of course, you'll hear in the presentation where the Economic Development Authority has made this possible. And we have our tall ladies, our stilt walkers here. Let's give them a hand. Thank you for coming.
When I started this profession, I was that tall. Davey. And thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Smith, Chairman of the Planning Commission, and I'm actually just going to really piggyback off what Aaron kind of laid down to you guys, and it came from them to us. We did approve 137 partnership holding on that, along with some other recommendations for easement. We're going to build those apartments on the waterfront property across from, right there across from City Hall. But also we approved Oral Farms. It's coming right here in Victory over Volkswagen site. And those are just things we just approved. And we don't have a meeting next month, but we will have one pretty soon. Any questions? There being none, I turn back over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Ed.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be brief as well. There's not a whole lot to update you from the PPIC. We've actually been twice since this group got back together because of vacations and some conflicts. We did have a meeting in October, and in that meeting we got an update from the Virginia Port Authority. They came in basically to let us know what's going on with PNT. That's our biggest question right now. What is happening with PNT? moving down to the Paradise Creek corridor, the concept plan that the focus group for Paradise Creek for that industrial corridor has been working on since last January has finally been completed. There's a lot of recommendations on that, mainly diversifying industry down there, upgrading utilities, improving the road infrastructure, which is the main thing, and enhancing the economic potential of key properties. So I'm saying all that is going over the planning now, and we'll see where we go on that. If anybody's using the Jordan Bridge these days, especially in the mornings and the afternoons, you'll probably notice a lot more traffic there. Ever since the Enterprise came into the Navy Yard there, it seems like all the Enterprise crew is using the south entrances to the Navy Yard to get in there, and it's really jammed up that area. So it's made it a little bit more difficult to have that easy access on the Jordan Bridge. I would say if we could do anything in that corridor over there, it would be to improve that access to the Jordan Bridge, try to get that route straight on through Frederick Boulevard. That would be a big plus for us. Other than the Paradise Creek area, we understand that the School Board Operations Center is going to be eventually moving out of that area. That will turn that piece of property over to the EPA, including the Superfund cleanup. Once that's done, about a year or so, hopefully we'll be able to get that going, and that area will all be leveled, and it'll be a nice piece of industrial property for us. And I believe that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'll give it a shot.
Yes, sir. Do you have the port representative come into your meeting, and have you gone to APM and asked for a representative?
Russell Helm was in our last meeting, and he's assured us that he has a designated appointee that will be attending all of our meetings from here on. We lost Barry and Corey, but they say from now on we'll have a BPA representative at all our meetings. And APM, what was that?
Have we extended an invitation to APM? To have
Not specifically to have someone sit in on all of our meetings. We talked to them at times, but we really have not gone that far. It's already looking good.
I thought in the offsite that we had, we talked about creating that relationship with them after we had made this decision that has already been made whether or not they want to privatize it.
Right.
Once we made that decision, they still are a huge player here.
Yeah.
We probably should entertain it.
All right, well, I will bring that up in our next meeting, and we'll push that forward. All right. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you, sir. Next, PRHA, that's a group.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Flossie Bridge, board chairman of PRHA, only the second time. Tonight's report is we have the product African Green Project. There are 3 key items to be finalized by the Product Properties LLC before the closing transfer of property can occur. One of those is the city's review project site plan that was completed on August 12th, 13. Final approval pending city receipt and approval of traffic signal plan. The second item for that project is the Product Properties LLC has currently submitted 6 house plans for the city to review. And the third item for the Product Properties LLC submitted a lender's Monarch Bank letter of credit approval notice and a term sheet for review on 10/16/13. And I believe there was a meeting today with Mr. Meeks and Kathy Moore for the financial approval, is that correct? The 714 Court Street project, the developer of that is the Whitmore Company, Dan Aston. He has received all necessary city approval for the 63-unit apartment project at Court and Grant County Street. Final negotiations and development agreement are taking place between the developer and the authority, and closing is set for January 2014. We have a DVD that we would like to present to you tonight, and it is celebrating the 75th PRHA. On October the 24th or 25th, we will be honored with receiving 2 national awards from the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment, and out of that, only 20 awards nationally is granted. And we, Portsmouth, Virginia Housing Authority, is receiving 2, one for our Splash Park, and the other one is for our Scholarship Foundation. We would like to share with you tonight concerning the history of PRHA in Portsmouth. Thank you.
The nation on its eyes grew in its mind on the brink of World War II. Back home in Portsmouth, Virginia, city officials were gearing up to wage a multi-year battle of their own. Only here, the front lines presented a fight against unsafe and unsanitary housing and an urgent need to house wartime defense workers in the city's burgeoning shipbuilding industry. Bolstered by the new Virginia law that allowed the creation of local housing authorities, city officials did just that. By 1940, work began in earnest to meet the pressing need for safe, cost-effective built housing. The new efforts would touch off the construction of 6 public housing projects over the next 7 years, totaling $10 million. Communities with names now familiar to most of us: Dale Homes, Swanson Homes, and Jeffrey Wilson Homes among them. Those early efforts of the Portsmouth Housing Authority only encouraged city officials further. By 1946, the Portsmouth Housing Authority added redevelopment to its name, positioning itself to become a vital force in the creation of a new and improved Portsmouth. The years that followed brought more big changes and revitalization to Portsmouth's neighborhoods and business corridors. Along with them came vastly improved property values that continue to generate millions in tax revenues for city services. In the 600 block of High Street, neglected, time-worn properties were acquired, sold, and renewed to become one of downtown's most successful retail blocks. Loans were provided to property owners across the Old Town Conservation District to improve businesses and residences. In Mount Vernon, PRHA turned unproductive blocks into 61 acres of tax-generating residential, retail, and office space. Along the downtown waterfront, a new Renaissance Hotel, Admiral's Landing condos, and the shimmering Harbor Towers put a welcoming new face on the city. Southside's Port Center Commerce Park emerged into 60 acres of office, flex, and light industrial space near downtown Portsmouth and Interstate 264, with room to grow. Meanwhile, in Midtown Portsmouth, years of decline were reversed with the welcome addition of a new Chick-fil-A and a Walmart Supercenter. And at Victory Crossing, popular retailers like Farm Fresh, Lowe's, and others generated solid new jobs, fabulous shopping options, and millions in annual tax revenue. Fast forward to today, 75 years later. While the needs and demands may have changed over the last 75 years, the original mission has never wavered. A better Portsmouth. Across the city, vital business corridors and properties long in decline are being revitalized and repurposed. Areas that operated tax-free are being transformed into revenue-generating assets that support crucial services and create solid jobs for city residents. New marketing efforts are helping lure in new business, developers, and companies to the city, together positioning Portsmouth as a warm, welcoming place to do business and call home. Those early projects created by the original Housing Authority are still part of the city's fabric. Many of the original wartime housing communities we repurposed as public housing. Today, those properties are either being updated as safe, affordable housing for low-income residents or demolished and rebuilt as inviting, friendly neighborhoods of multifamily and single-family homes. Using a blend of tax credits and federal Hope 6 grants, dilapidated, crime-plagued barrack-style buildings at public housing communities
Thank you so much. Thank you for thank you to all of our economic development partners. I'm going to put the mayor on the spot and ask him if he wants to give a report on behalf of the council. But again, as he comes up tonight, thanks for what you do. We recognize the fact that you're volunteers and you put your heart and your soul into your work.
Not a report, John, but what I would like to say is how proud I am as mayor to be able to travel to places like Washington, D.C. and talk to the HUD Secretary, Mr. Dominic. Now, he made comments when he came here at the grand opening of Seaboard Square that he was truly amazed. And I was out of the country, and I think I had Councilman Heretic sitting in my stead, and he conveyed those comments to me. When I went to Washington in January for the mayor's conference, he actually reiterated that. So I'm extremely proud about what it is you're doing. Can you tell me those 2 awards that we're getting again?
They're for the Splash Park and for our Scholarship Foundation.
The Scholarship Foundation.
Yes, so these are scholarships that's given to our tenants that attend Portsmouth Public Schools, that Section 8 public housing.
And the Afton Square, when are we looking to break ground in? Have we got a date? When we're going to start tearing the school down? Or are we still in there?
We're still negotiating with them.
Okay. All right. With that, thank you very much, Mr.
Now I'd like to recognize the chairman of our school board and our school superintendent, Jim and David. You all same thing? David?
Thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. Just about a week before last, we had a big event in Portsmouth. We celebrated the 100th anniversary of I.C. Norcom High School. Where I.C. Norcom is one of 4 historic black high schools in the Commonwealth of Virginia. There's only 4, of which I.C. Norcom, Booker T, in Norfolk is one of the other 4. We are about 4 months into the academic year, 2 months into the school year. It's hard to believe we've already got writing tests going on with our juniors. SOL writing takes place already because of our 4x4 block. Teachers are working hard, students are attending, and ADM, which is our enrollment, is fairly stable. It's kind of a few kids, but not many. Teachers are working hard, kids are attending, and you know, with the resources we have and the challenges we face, we're doing the best we can every day. Thank you very much.
We have 2 more presentations today. All the demographic data that we see nationwide and with the state of Virginia indicates that there's going to be a movement back to urban centers. And that's what we are. We are an urban community. As people change their lifestyles, young people are delaying marriage, delaying starting a family. It's very important for us to create a sense of place. And that's what you are doing. You just saw that in this video from the Housing Authority, is to create a sense of place. And part of what we do in economic development is to create that sense of place. We want to talk to you about several different things that we're doing to create, again, I don't overuse the word, a sense of place, a sense of community. And with that, we'll start with Nancy Perry. And I think it's very important to understand that looks count, and the way our community looks is really important. And so we'll kick off this discussion about how we look.
Health card is not only a vital part of the city's identity, it often serves as a major vehicle for engaging citizens He also completed a mural on the wall 1812 on the wall facing Effingham at Cedar Grove Cemetery. Both pieces are done in silhouettes. His next project will be on the second story of the former quality shop on High Street. Finally, there, right, forgetting something. This mural will face the Children's Museum and will be able to be seen from the second story windows as well as those walking up High Street from the water. This project is being sponsored by the supporters of Portsmouth Public Art, 501c3, whose goal is to promote and collaborate with Portsmouth communities on art projects and activities. We are also wrapping the signal box that's at the large signal box that's at the corner of Fort and High Streets. And the signal box will be wrapped with a vinyl wrap with historic images that are found in Edward Pollock's sketchbook from the 1880s. And these are buildings that were originally on the corner of Fort and High, and that's in process now. The next wall we're looking at is the City Hall parking garage wall that faces Crawford. And we'll be looking at doing proposals for those and sending them out to artists. And the other one is the wall on the back of the Museum's Administration Building, the former Host and Hook Building. The wall faces the County Street parking garage, and the short wall will be a mural scene from the planetarium, and the long wall will show scenes of children using the trains and police car and fire engine, a boat, showing some of the major exhibits that are in the Children's Museum. Questions? Those are the projects that have been done or are ongoing right now.
How are you going to bond to that traffic control box? Are they going to paint it on, or is it?
It's a vinyl wrap. It's similar to what you find on a number of the lottery, self-serve lottery boxes that are outside. It's a firm
But that thing's aluminum, right? We just painted it black, but isn't it made out of aluminum?
They have specs. Yeah.
Thanks, Nancy. What we'll brief you on next is the fact that you're well aware of this. All roads lead to Portsmouth. And we started this in response to the Elizabeth River crossings closing the tunnel on the weekends. And this was an outgrowth that we had for the meeting of the promoters for Intellos. Bill Moody was at that meeting. They were expressing, this back in the summer, expressing concern about the possible, at that time, future closings of the tunnel on the weekend. And DeVorce is going to give you an update on that campaign.
Good evening again. All roads lead to Portsmouth. Great title, right? Well, it works for not only the city of Portsmouth, but for our citizens as well. Of course, it was contrived as a proactive campaign to create awareness. It guides visitors and citizens to Hampton Roads, to multiple routes leading to the heart of Hampton Roads, which is Portsmouth. Downtown Tunnel, Midtown Tunnel, Jordan Bridge, I-664, I-464, and I-264. And also the Elizabeth River Ferry. The All Roads campaign was intended to create and promote awareness of city roads and constructions. We purchased the domain name PortsmouthVARoads.com. If you notice, it follows the same guideline that we do for other things we do, like for instance, PortsVAEvents.com. We wanted to create something that was somewhat memorable so that people outside of city of Portsmouth would recognize the name and know how to get there. You can also get to this website by going to the city's webpage and clicking on the construction information page that's there. It all leads to the same place, but we want to create something that was catchy so citizens would understand. We people on Hampton Roads. Create awareness of ease of downtown parking. Virginia, of course, Virginia.gov parking. We launched that website not too long ago, so all of this pulls all of these things together and serves multiple purposes. The first phase of the campaign begins September 2nd and will run through November 17th. We wanted to do that because, of course, we don't know what the outcome of the court case was, but even so, we wanted to make sure that we are still leading people to Portsmouth and not around them. TV spots airing on Wavy, WBC, and WTKR. Radio stations include FM 99, 94.9 The Point, 95.7 R&B, and also print advertising in Virginia College, Currents, Daily Press, and Mirror Magazine. And I want to go back and say that one of the first things that we did that launched this campaign was an ad that we did, an article that we did in Mirror publication. From that meeting that was where Mr. Moody attended, and the city manager and principals from IMG, one of the things that happened from that was that we contacted Jeff Mazie, who's the author of Mirror, and asked him if he would launch our campaign by doing an article talking about coming to downtown Portsmouth. And sure enough, he did a very good article. Some council members probably remember that because we had our council retreat. That article ran in that magazine, and we talked about that during the meeting. Here's some of the print. Billboard advertising on 264, of course, going both directions on Adams Outdoors, print ad. Internet marketing through online advertising, Google AdWords. The daily campaign has generated almost 3 million marketing impressions throughout the Hampton Roads area. And if you want to know the cost based upon the campaign, we're talking about less than one penny cents per impression.
What is an impression?
An impression has to do with how many people actually have seen the advertising. Their impressions generated by advertising through all of our multimedia marketing mix. Those impressions where people have actually seen the advertising or it's actually going throughout the different campaign. And we talk about how much we pay for that. We're talking about like a penny and 1.24, less than a penny and a half cents per impression that we pay for. Also, we want to let you know that South Norfolk Jordan Bridge was partnered with us in this campaign and helped because they saw that it would be beneficial for them as well. And so we ended up, after I worked with them, and got them to do sponsorship, and they also kicked in some dollars to help with this campaign. We wanted to show you here where you have on Google Words where we come up. If you go to Google and put in Portsmouth, Virginia, all of this information comes up. The arrow there points you to all roads lead to Portsmouth. Just to let you know that it comes up on the front, on the first page, and we're getting good impressions and information there. Also, High Street Entertainment. We want to talk about that. And George Reed Entertainment, we launched that campaign earlier during this year, and of course, you saw our still walkers here. They were just one facet of entertainment that appeared, but we also had musicians, we also had fire jugglers, we had all kinds of acts, and that ran consistently through September 28th. Now, of course, at this particular time, we're going to have some special dates coming up, whereby they're going to be in downtown Portsmouth, and some of our special dates where they're coming up, they're going to be here for the Old Town State Trick or Treat. They're going to be for Coast Guard Day. They're going to be also in downtown for Old Town Arts and Antiques Open House. They're going to be here for the opening of the Wonderland. And finally, they will also be here during the Old Town Holiday Music Festival. So in addition to the sponsorship that we got from the EDAs for all of those events consecutive every Friday and Saturday, those are the special days that they will be here during the holidays and throughout the rest of the year. High Street kiosks. We wanted to talk about that because here again, we're focusing on entertainment and things that would create heat on the street on High Street. And of course, this is our kiosk that we've re-outfitted. Basically, we have our High Street greeters. Of course, you've probably seen them with the hats and the logos and all of that. Just to give you some information, yes, to date, they've greeted over 9,500 people in terms of looking at what the boats and the two inlets. John Ash challenged us to make sure that we kept an eye on who was coming into the two inlets. So High Street Lane, we had like today over 128 boats, and North Lane we had over like 89 boats, I think, since we lifted the regulations and change some things to make it such that it can create more of a voting community in downtown Portsmouth. Just wanted to show you how we outfitted the kiosk for the fall. And thanks to Caroline Penny and her staff, they decorated and did an excellent job with that. Here's some more pictures of some of the high street entertainment.
What about the kiosk? Do you have brochures or pamphlets or something that the greeters are handing out to the people if they're approached about restaurants, about just the city in general and places or points of interest?
Yes, sir. They have a whole wealth of information relative to different things that happen in the city. Of course, all of our maps that show them how to get to different establishments in downtown. We have event guides, restaurant guides, all of the things events that are happening in downtown Portsmouth, all kinds of fulfillment pieces, visitor guides, some of our attraction guides, everything that they would like to know about the city of Portsmouth, they have it there at the kiosk. If you don't believe me, you can go down and try to get some information down back. Here again, this launched on High Street Court. We've had a whole lot of success in terms of people coming out, some people at the ferry, a lot of entertainment, and like I said before, we hope to next year continue this to add to what the council had deemed necessary in the retreat to create more people on the street and more energy in downtown Portsmouth. Of course, you saw the tall ladies here tonight, and we had a band and face painting, and somewhat like minors as well.
And were these well attended?
These were well attended, and of course, we did not take attendance because these are street entertainers, and it's hard to get a gauge for how many people would come out. But by the same token, these things were happening on Fridays and Saturdays from 5 to 8 p.m. Consistently all the way through September. And of course, now that we're doing the holidays, we'll have hopefully more people come in because they'll be tied into some of the other holiday events that are happening downtown. Any other questions?
Are you going to talk about what's happening this Friday and Saturday night?
This Friday and Saturday night?
These people need to hear that. They all got kids and grandkids.
Okay, well, this Friday and Saturday night, we're talking about the state trick-or-treat. Pumpkin lighting. All these events coming up in the next 2 weeks help to promote a lot of what's happening in downtown for Halloween, and Nancy's going to give you some of that information.
On Friday night is the Old Town Ghost Walk, and this year the museums are trying to collect 500 carved pumpkins, or we'll take uncarved pumpkins, we'll be happy to carve them. And we want to
Take your knife out.
and we're doing the great pumpkin lighting. Our goal is to have 500 pumpkins that we will line the steps of the courthouse. And in the courtyard, we'll light it at dusk on Friday night to go with the Ghost Walk. And then we will, on the next day, we have Museum Madness, which are Halloween activities at the 4 museums. The light ship becomes the fright ship. We have activities at the Naval Shipyard Museum, the Children's Museum, and at the Art and Cultural Center where we'll have ghost pictures, we'll have a little parade, with music there. And then we'll light the pumpkins again on Saturday night at dusk, and they'll be lit for Safe Trick or Treat, which is between 6 and 8. So if you have a pumpkin, please deliver it on Thursday between 4 and 7, or Friday between 10 and 3 for our great pumpkin lighting. I'd like 500 pumpkins. King of New Hampshire had 28,000, so I'm starting small.
2 questions. I noticed we throttled back on our advertising for the Children's Museum. Is there a reason for that, or?
Say that again.
The advertising, the TV ad for our Children's Museum, I've noticed we throttled back some of that.
No.
We have not.
Our campaign for the Children's Museum is just as aggressive as it has been. What we've been doing, though, is diversifying that campaign to include some of the special events and things that are happening at the museums and things that are happening in downtown. So our overall awareness campaign for the Shoes in, it's still going strong, we're still advertising with HGTV, some of the radio channels, local network television, radio, and all of that good stuff. That campaign is not waning at all, and we have not cut back on that campaign to make room for anything else. These are campaigns, these ancillary campaigns that we're doing are in addition to the things we currently do.
Okay, very good. Now, what about our attendance so far with the museum? Children, how we look?
We're looking okay. It was a little slow this summer, partly because the weather was so good. We really need rain that begins on at 9 o'clock in the morning and runs most of the day. So every day that it's raining, we've been packed, but it was a little slow, but it's picking up now with school groups and our events and some of the other things that we're doing.
Thank you.
One other thing, just to let you know, we did leverage the Eagle being in downtown when it was here. We saw nearly, the report we got was like close to 5,000 visitors when the Eagle was in town. And we leveraged that opportunity to promote Coast Guard Days. Of course, that's going to come up on November 2nd. So if you're in town, and hopefully all of you will be, come on down to Festival Park, which is the area right outside of the Intelligence Pavilion. And we will have a day-long event, festivities and things there for you as well. So we didn't want to leave that out, but that is the last of the events. That is not a holiday event that will happen. And then from that point, we'll go on with the rest of our events. Yes?
Is there any kind of shuttle or anything to get over there from downtown or any of the parking garages?
No.
So it's just like going
We have a very walkable downtown. We encourage people to walk and exercise and be a part of the health enforcement.
Jim, tell these folks about what's happening at Ocean Marine this summer.
Yeah,
You don't have kids that don't want to do Halloween, you go to Ocean Marine.
we have what's called Caribbean 1500. We have what's called the Caribbean 1500, and it's 40 boats right now that we have coming in, and it's a week-long, it's like a boat rally, like a car rally. They're going to travel from Ocean Marine down to the Caribbean as a group. A lot of experienced sailors sailing with inexperienced sailors. So there's a week-long seminar that they're using the rooms at the Renaissance, and of course we're having a dinner for 120-some people at Roger Brown's one night. And so all these boaters are coming here to Portsmouth, and just so you'll know, we won this event fair and square from Hampton. We cleared away from that. And so the fun part is on November 2nd for the big party, we decided to throw a big party for them as well at the same time. So there's going to be all those boaters and all those folks will be at our celebration for Coast Guard Day as well. And the last thing I'll tell you is I put out an email to all the participants to take and put every single flag that they have up, any of their tablecloths, underwear, whatever, put them up on their masts, and we've got Bacchus aerial photography coming by to shoot. So we're going to do that right in the middle of the Coast Guard celebration. So that'll be a lot of fun.
What did you have to do to win that?
We had to assure the promoters that we were going to supply. We had to do the provisioning, which we're going to be running trips back and forth to the food line. We had to make sure that the boats could be repaired and got to see where they condition. We needed a really nice place to have the seminars. So the Renaissance obviously was very nice. So there was a lot of things that we had to sit down in meetings and make sure that we had in place so that we could get those boats properly prepared to cross the ocean. The seminars include things like safety at sea, basic mechanical, electrical troubleshooting, communications, all the navigation, all those things so that they feel good about it. And we kind of put a team together, presented downtown Portsmouth. Of course, our waterfront's beautiful. They need restaurants. They want to have fun while they're here. And so all that came together, and we convinced the promoters to move the event from Hampton to Portsmouth. So, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Morris, are there any plans and works to bring back a carriage ride? We market ourselves. Sometimes we send out mixed messages. We're a colonial city. We've got some of the oldest housing stock in the nation, and I know you have to have street vendors and things that are contemporary to attract kids and things, but I think a carriage operation of some sort would certainly bring back since going to a charm. I know we've tried it in the past, but I don't think we should give up on that because some of these cities, Indianapolis, some of Charleston, some of the other southern cities, not that Indiana southern, but it really adds some ambiance to their downtown area.
I think, Nancy, we've done some things with that Smithfield organization that did that.
Yes, the organization that did parent rights in the past, the museums, still work with them for events, and they will be doing some wagon rides during Winter Wonderland, and they will also have their ponies out during Winter Wonderland. But I could explore with them the option of offering carriage rides and see what their fee would be or what they would charge people to ride.
Yeah, that's good. I guess I'm thinking something more, a couple out for dinner, want to snuggle up in a carriage after dinner, or just visitors want to take in some of the sights of Old Town, that sort of thing.
I'll be happy to.
Carriage.
I'll be happy to talk to them. We're working with them for Coast Guard Day as well.
That's a great idea. In fact, we've got, Ron's taking notes. This is a great meeting where we got this interchange that's going on. I don't know if you heard it, but again, the partnership on the downtown entertainers involved the EDA. They voted to finance that. I think the EDA. One of the things that we're talking, one of the things that we're talking about on the High Street readers, segways. We want to disconnect them from being stationary at their one location. So don't be surprised if you see a Segway between now and Christmas on High Street and on the sidewalk. Yes, ma'am.
I said one thing, I think we had it in the past, and we sometimes forget the good things from the past. But there was a time when all of these special events and things that came through was generated through the schools. And that's a very good audience because they were downtown and the school children were very much involved in what was going on in the history of downtown. Now we are more spread out and we need to go back to pushing some of those things to encourage parents to bring the children into the downtown area. We're losing a futuristic market by not bringing the children into as many things as we have in downtown that would draw them there. And not just Christmas and all. They ought to know the history of downtown. And I'm not sure that many of them are getting that kind of baby because we have a lot of history. But I'm not sure the children or many of the citizens who did not have the benefits of the history of downtown know what really happened. Downtown is but one segment of the history of the city of Portsmouth. It's the nucleus, but let's not forget, it has to spread out or else it's going to die in downtown. So let's spread the history where it benefits all of the populace by bringing them in some way into downtown. And that can be done very easily.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Talking about downtown and talking about the total city, these are old signs, but we have some new signs that are coming up too, and Bob's going to brief you on that.
When we talk about the one downtown tunnel that's been missing for 2 years.
That's it, this presentation.
Check November. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will be brief on these, but I think this is really a kind of an important update on the signs for downtown. This is the gateway sign area we were mentioning. It's currently being fabricated, and the plan would be to have addition to the gateway sign, there are a number of these we call directory signs that have been proposed for downtown. There's 10 locations downtown for directory signs. You can see below the sailboat there's a little pocket in there for a map. I kind of hesitate to show this, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's been a committee working on the map, and it has not gotten to the final point yet, but I want to show you what the size would be for the maps that go inside. This is the actual material. This is a prototype of the type of material and the size that fits in that pocket. And one on each side of that. We'll have a directory, number of pieces of information, but that's the map that goes inside those things. So those are also being fabricated, and they're also anticipated to be installed in November as well. There they are, being fabricated. You'd like to see signs in progress. And these are the 10 locations on this map. It's kind of a small map. The original plan deals mostly with signs along the seawall, but we actually have expanded out to 10 more locations added. So pretty exciting here to get these maps and signs put together. We're trying to get the mapping piece done, so when the signs are ready to be installed, we'll have maps ready to put into those pockets. We don't have empty map pockets. And by the way, these are weather resistant, UV resistant, and they're even though we would not leave them in that long, these things are intended to last up to 7 years when they put in there. So hopefully we'll have any rad looking maps inside a nice looking sign. So that is underway. Hopefully we'll have that done soon. And they are, as you recall, replacing those old white signs originally intended to be kind of temporary that stayed out for a fairly long amount of time. Definitely good. And they have been through the DDC. The signs have been approved, the location been approved, so we're just waiting for the applicator to get them completed. So we're glad to answer any questions if you have any about that.
Will these signs be illuminated?
I don't believe they're illuminated.
Or at least reflected?
They're reflective. And one thing that's nice about these maps too, these are have been done in a matte finish. They're reflective, but they're not glare. Glare kind of reduction glare. They're definitely visible. They're about 8 feet tall. The sign maps are going to be at eye level. And I think with the number of locations that are out there, they'll be pretty visible in anybody who walks out.
Remember what these old maps look like? There's still one next to the kiosk. They are pretty ratty. And you know, in the current, we want it to really be attractive. We're trying to make downtown alive. And although it's not on the agenda, I'm going to plug in for some work that Gita's doing. She's working with IMG to rethink and colors, not only what's being promoted there, but opening up in Telos to be more of a public park during the day. That the default position is open, not closed.
John, while you're on that subject, we've discussed now for the last several years about bringing that old portside environment back and having something down there every Wednesday or Thursday or something. So the sooner we get that done, the sooner we can probably start talking to folks. I've had several people to contact my office about wanting to do something like that. And we need to do it, but we need to make sure we do it the right way.
Yes, sir. Along with the events and the functions the mayor's talking about, it hurts me every time, every weekend, you hear about Norfolk, Waterside, the wine festival. It just draws hundreds, thousands of people in the community. And they have a lot of these functions throughout the year. And, by golly, what works on that side of the river will work on this side of the river. We just need an organization to plan it, get sponsorships, implement it, and let us market it. It will work. Our people, I guarantee you, a lot of people in Portsmouth are over there attending those events.
We share that enthusiasm and that desire. In fact, I convened the meeting on Friday because of the schooner days that came by, and I said every weekend we need to have something happening, especially on the weekend when we have schooners coming. And so the report as late as 5:30 this afternoon that we married up to become a partner with that 20-year volunteer effort next year. So we share that goal. It's a grand idea.
Yeah, I'm going to do the lead-in from Ms. Wilson, who's going to go through some of the elements of the Downtown Economic Development Plan. For those of you on council, you've seen this, most of it. For those of you on the Economic Development Authority, you've lived it. Why the focus on downtown? It generated some conversations early on this evening. I think the manager addressed that very well. It is the health, it is the core of our city. From downtown, prosperity can spread out. And the Economic Development Authority had a lot of debate around that topic when they were working on this plan. The intent is not to stop with downtown. We have our enterprise zone programs, the ability to make investments in properties throughout the city. But in the short term, for the facade grants and some of the other programs that Ms. Wilson's going to walk you through, the limited resources have been invested in downtown. So she's going to talk to you about the framework, the primary objectives, and then of course all of this is designed to make downtown and the community at large a walkable, live, work, play community. You shouldn't have to leave the city for shopping. Shouldn't have to leave the city for employment opportunities. You ought to be able to live here in the community and do all of these things. So everything we've talked about this evening is designed to achieve those objectives. Starting downtown, Ms. Wilson's going to go through the plan that she's worked very hard with the authority and our staff on.
Good evening. A lot of you have seen this presentation before, so I'll go over the basics of it. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll give you some of the details of this comprehensive plan that we've worked on. This presentation I made to the council back in August. Sorry, there we go. And it is a 43-page plan of work document for the Economic Development Department. It is a framework of instructions for our department to revitalize and bring incentives to downtown Portsmouth. It has a designated geography that parallels our enterprise zone. It goes up the High Street corridor up to Elm Avenue. I started working on this project nearly 2 years ago, and working with business owners in downtown Portsmouth, other civic leaders, our EDA commissioners, and also city staff. It was adopted by the authority in August of this year. It includes initiatives for downtown beautification, as with the facade grant, but also different initiatives for streetscape improvements. Also the High Street activity that Mr. Pace has discussed earlier, and also working with our partners in our planning department to make downtown Portsmouth a multimodal district. The facade improvement grant was the major part of this plan, but it is a comprehensive plan. But it probably gets the most attention because it's what you can see, and it got the biggest part of the budget for this plan. The EDA aligned $200,000 to the plan overall. So far, we have 4 applications that have been submitted and approved. So far, we have about $126,000 that remains allotted for the program for the remainder of the fiscal year. The FIG application process works like this. I think it's important to understand it because it works in parallel with our Department of Planning and the Downtown Design Committee. The applicant would come to the EDA with a proposed project. That project will be taken to the EDA for a pre-application. The applicant would then go through the regular planning process with going through the planning department and the Downtown Design Committee. With that approval, they will come back to the EDA for a final application with the renderings and the approvals that are necessary. Just as if there were no grant at the end of the project at all, we would enter into a grant agreement, and they would be able to be paid for their expenses and one payment at the end of the project, on reimbursement payment. The Economic Development Authority has been the vital part of the project as far as funding the incentives for us. The other incentives that are included are the Safety and Security Grant, which is a $2,000 grant for a business wanting to install safety equipment and systems in their business. We have a Next Generation Retailer Grant, which is compensation or third compensation for an intern for a downtown Portsmouth retailer. We also have the Window of Opportunity Grant as for the funding source to put window window wraps on a window that might be vacant downtown. And also a loan guarantee program that would support a private loan that a borrower might have from a private banking institution. The important part of this slide is that the downtown Portsmouth plan is a comprehensive plan that has several different points to it. One is the incentives, but that's not the entire plan. As I said, that the mobility is an important part of the plan, making downtown not only bike friendly, but also pedestrian friendly as well. Also business development, using the research that we've had done to tell us what types of businesses we need to have downtown, and also in what ways can we support our businesses with the resources that they need to be stable and to be able to sustain themselves when the market fluctuates. As we know that independent retailers are the most sensitive to market fluctuations as opposed to national chains or franchises. Okay. Sorry about that. Maybe that really destroyed it. And also market valuation, which allows us to say, what do we need to do to understand our market, to analyze how much retail space that we may have, how much square footage is retail, how much square footage is office, what is vacant, what are our lease rates, how do we understand our market so that we can attract the right businesses for the business district. Also our focus initiatives, as I mentioned before, the beautification, and also the focus on the multi-family residential development, as Chairman Kelly mentioned earlier, with the apartment projects downtown. Are there any questions from me for the downtown project or the downtown development plan?
Does everybody in here know the city's new tourism administrator? Have we introduced him to you in the past? Okay. Well, for those of you who don't, Dave Schulte, he's going to talk to us a little bit about tourism, past, present, and future, and keep the ball rolling on some of how all this ties together.
Okay, terrific. Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to tell you a little bit about our tourism promotion efforts in the future. Before I begin, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everybody for the warm welcome I've received since I joined the city staff in July. In particular, I want to thank Patrick Small and the staff in Economic Development, and Boris Pace and the staff in Marketing and Communications for the tremendous help that they've been. I have also been tremendously impressed with the enthusiasm of the folks who work in the local tourism industry. We have a terrific story to tell. We have something to be very proud of. And I'm delighted that folks are so anxious to get the ball rolling. I was especially delighted that the Washington Post agreed with me back on September 1st. In their travel section, they ran a full-page story about visiting Old Town and the Naval Shipyard Museum. So we're hoping to continue that as well. And if you've ever wondered where our visitors come from, Friday evening, as I was going through Old Town, I came across Colonel Crawford, who was entertaining a family from France. They weren't lost, were they? Just to set the stage a little bit for you, how important is tourism to the economic health of Portsmouth? Each year, the Virginia Tourism Corporation crunches numbers from the sales tax division of the state government, and they estimated that last year, visitors to Portsmouth spent $77.7 billion, which sounds like a tremendous amount of money, and it is, but if you compare us, say, to Virginia Beach, last year, $1.2 billion with a B. Williamsburg, $1.1 billion with a B. Right across the water in Norfolk, $700 million. So although this is an important number for us, we have a ways to go. That $77 billion of visitor spending generated a payroll of almost $14.5 billion, which supported 775 jobs. And of course, it's also very important to the economic health of the city. About $3 million in city tax revenues from room tax, meals tax, and sales taxes. One of the first efforts we've undertaken is that we are cooperating with the Old Town Business Association, which owns the visitor guide. And we're working with them right now to make this publication even better. We're going to be expanding the text and photos that'll appear in next year's publication. And we're going to be dividing it up into thematic areas that make sense for us, including family fun, history, arts and entertainment, outdoor fun, and the very important waterfront, which I believe is what brought the folks from France here, correct? They sailed across the ocean.
They did.
Major festivals and events, shopping, dining, and lodging. Next up on our to-do list is the city's tourism website. When this website was launched in 2008, it was state-of-the-art, and as you know, the art of communication has changed since then. So our new tourism website will be mobile-friendly. In other words, people can access it with smartphones and tablets. It will have expanded graphics and text to do a better job of telling the story about what makes us unique. We hope to integrate videos into all of the attraction stories working with the city's marketing and communications department, so that in addition to seeing text and photos, you can actually take a tour of our attractions. We intend to improve the digital mapping on the website. We will have a visitor sign up for electronic newsletter that we will communicate with them often. And we hope to expand our press room. And very importantly, we'll be integrating social media like Facebook, Pinterest, you name it, Twitter into the publication.
What is that? What is the name of that site?
This is Visit Ports VA.
Visit Ports VA.
Yeah. I should back up for a second. We average about 7,000 visitors to the website each month. And many of them are using it to search for shops and for restaurants. Other tourism initiatives underway right now. You'll be seeing in a few minutes information about the Portsmouth campaign. We're investigating the feasibility of having part of that morph into a Visit Portsmouth campaign. We're investigating the feasibility of an expanded visitor map, which will do a better job of drawing people into the higher blocks of High Street. Very excited that a group from locally here is investigating the possibility of creating a digital tour app where people touring downtown and Old Town could actually pull up through CR codes of geolocation additional information about our historic sites. And of course, we'll continue our work in media relations. We're just about to embark on a conference marketing effort with our conference hotels. And of course, we're going to go out and beat the bushes for group tour business again in the future. And last, I wanted to share with you something that's very exciting. We belong to a group called the Coastal Virginia Tourism Alliance. It's the 10 communities in Hampton Roads who are in tourism promotion. And working in conjunction with that group, we are planning to undertake a comprehensive visitor research study. We're going to interview about 2,000 families visiting Hampton Roads. And from that, we're going to learn where those visitors are coming from, how they plan their visits, and very importantly for us, what they do while they're in coastal Virginia. Because a very important segment of our market is people who are visiting Virginia Beach, Williamsburg, coming to Portsmouth. So we're going to gain some very valuable information about how to improve those efforts. And of course, how they make their visit decisions. And most importantly, what we can do to extend their length of stay. Any questions? If not, thank you very much.
The city manager talked earlier about the partnership between EDA and the city on the High Street entertainers, but what we failed to mention is the gentleman in the frock coat has been brought back to the city of Portsmouth to conduct Colonel Crawford's stroll. And he's working very closely with David, with Nancy, with Lavoris, to be on the street, greeting people, directing them where they might need to go. So in addition to the High Street greeters, we welcome the Colonel back. All right, I have updated you on numerous occasions on the Move to Portsmouth campaign. All of this, you saw some words over it: live, work, play, move to Portsmouth, whether it's a business, whether it's yourself. All of this is designed is our city. If people come and they visit us, they may be inclined to move here. So the Move Portsmouth campaign continues, painting us as a desirable place to live, work, and play. Still with the same targets, the military as well. Here's an example of one of the ads we run from the military publications. Thousands of broadcast cable television spots, so now people throughout the region are seeing the All Roads campaign. They're seeing the Move to Portsmouth campaign. They're hearing us on the radio. They're seeing us on the billboards. We're conducting the surveys, which we'll wrap up by the end of this year, and get a report out to you on that. So much more. But what I want to talk to you about is the logical next step in the re-education of people about Portsmouth. We started a message that depicts us as an up-and-coming, vibrant city, offering amenities to their citizens unmatched in the region, charming, livable downtown, beautiful neighborhoods, the historic background, and everything you've heard about tonight. Previously, we had conducted video. When was the last time you really saw Portsmouth? That was sort of the kickoff for some of this. We morphed that into Move to Portsmouth, Tell Your Realtor, challenging people throughout Hampton Roads to rediscover our city, accentuating the positive, fighting hard against outdated and erroneous perceptions of the city, initiate the enhanced attraction of visitors, with the ultimate goal being to increase homeowners, residents, and visitation to the city. So you've all seen the commercials. We've shared them with you, featuring our neighborhoods, featuring our education, featuring our public safety professionals. But what we want to show you are some new commercials we've launched that feature the live, work, play, and as David mentioned earlier, provide us a launching platform to do some more visitation, tourism, and advertising throughout Hampton Roads. Maybe it's a promotion featuring Girls' Night Out. Come catch a movie at the Commodore, go out with your girlfriends for a drink. Maybe it's date night in Portsmouth. Maybe it's Children's Weekend at the Museum. These are the kind of initiatives that you will be seeing under Mr. Schulte's capable direction shortlist in this way. These are the transitional commercials.
Virginia, the perfect place. A regional leader in employment, entertainment, recreation, and quality of life since 1752. When was the last time you really saw Portsmouth? Portsmouth, Virginia, since 1752, a regional leader in quality of life, entertainment, recreation, and employment. The perfect place. When was the last time you really saw Portsmouth?
So those are on the air now. And I believe the next one, Loris, that's
Portsmouth, Virginia, the perfect place. A regional leader in employment, entertainment, recreation, and quality of life since 1752. When was the last time you really saw Portsmouth?
and the last one is what he's going to share with us as part of the All Roads campaign. So you can see how all this stuff sort of pulls together. There you go.
So we don't pull it all together.
Don't be good, weren't they?
Use your imagination. All right, so we're working hard hard to create a sense of place. And, yes,
Say
sir.
something real quick on what Patrick and that advertising. I
Yes, sir.
spoke to a group last week, and there were 3 realtors in the room that really appreciate the work that we're doing here. But they kind of highlighted that article or the ad that we ran in the paper comparing our taxes and the tax rate and the cost that in the other cities. They're actually using that in their manual when they talk to people. And they applauded us for running that ad. I think that came out of our retreat that we had. And then also that you mentioned the IC Norfolk last week, it was about 800 people at the Renaissance. But throughout the course of that week, I ran into a lot of people that had been gone for quite a while here from Navy with the type of things that we're doing here. So hats off to all of us for what we're doing. Sometimes you need people to come back and see what the place looks like and be able to remind us of the great things that we're doing. So thank you.
Thank you. I know that it's getting late. We're not going to keep you long, but we want to declare victory tonight. We got good news from the governor's office last Friday that the governor has approved, the state has approved our enterprise zone application. And I want to recognize Howard. This is the first example of this is a very, very competitive grant application. And give them the highlights.
Thank you very much. It really was a team effort to put this application together. We had assistance from the legal department with writing very detailed descriptions of the geographies and boundaries that we were submitting. We had a lot of help from the GIS department that falls under information technology and Cliff Sales and his handiwork. The city surveyor worked with us, Earl Cheatham, as well. So we had a good team effort. We also used a consultant who happens to be a retired enterprise zone administrator from the city of Newport. So that doesn't hurt. But we are very excited this evening to as the city manager whispered in my ear, take a victory lap here. And I'll just be brief and remind you that the Enterprise Zone program was established by the General Assembly back in '82. We had a zone in '84 that expired in 2009. We then made application and got a brand new zone that went into effect in 2010. And this now is our second zone that goes into effect in January of 2014. So we are one of the few communities across the Commonwealth with 2 separate enterprise zones. And as the manager mentioned, the governor announced this late last week. It was highly competitive. There were 11 applications and there were only 4 spots, and we received one of those 4. Each of our zones are a 10-year zone with 5-year renewals, 2 5-year renewals, so theoretically each zone could last for 20 years. And each of our geographies can have 3 non-contiguous areas. It is one of the most effective ways of using incentives to promote investment and development in a community. It is a combination of state and local incentives, and the state incentives focus on the Real Property Investment Grant and Job Generation Grant, and our local incentives are focused on capital investment either in real estate or in business personal property or machinery and tool tax, or machinery and tool investment. And these are just some very brief descriptions of some of the sort of local incentives that we have. They are all here to be self-funding with new revenue coming in as a result of these developments, and we'll be coming back to council first of the year to codify all of these incentives with all the particulars. But again, we're just very excited now that we have 2 different areas of the city. We have the original enterprise zone that starts with downtown waterfront, runs out to Midtown, includes Victory and the Mass Center. The map's in the packet you received tonight. And then this brand new zone is focused on the industrial waterfront in the city. It includes all of the West Norfolk area to include the vacant BASF plant. It includes the PMT area and the industrial property around that. And then includes all the industrial property that runs down Elm Avenue, Burton's Point Road, and the Paradise Creek Southern branch of the Elizabeth River. So we're excited to have that in place and bring some good industrial business to the city. Thank you.
Great job. Last part. I said that was the last item, but Curtis asked me a question, Bishop Edmonds, about the tunnel closure this weekend. It's a work in progress. We'll know Wednesday morning. I know for a fact that the Deputy Highway Commissioner came down and met with ERC and the contractor last Friday. They're looking at options, any option other than total closure on the weekend. And I've been told that they should make a decision Wednesday morning. I'm pushing them to do the same thing that we pushed them to do last weekend, which is to suspend the tunnel closing. That's the latest news from DDOT. Yes, sir.
Can we have Councilwoman Simmons close us out and let everybody know how we can dress tomorrow night?
Absolutely.
You'll be the first to know that tomorrow night, in support of something that has probably touched each and every one of us, our own fire department has, for a couple of years now, been wearing these sweatshirts as part of their official uniform on the weekends, or a pink polo shirt, to support the Susan Komen breast cancer research. So the entire city council has bought these shirts. I'm delivering them to the city council members tonight, and we are wearing them for our meeting tomorrow night. We're going to break Chief Stockton's rule about weekend wear, but we're going to wear them tomorrow night in support of breast cancer research. And we know that a lot of city employees just took a photo all in their pink, so we're going to get our pink photo tomorrow night.